You ready?
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new show this week. All kind of stuff going on in the world of real estate. Interest rates going crazy. Just hit a 6-month high. We'll talk about that. But the good thing is the real estate market's still on fire the last 7 days. We're coming to that summer market, hitting that time school's out, and we're seeing that in terms of traffic in town, buyers buying, and really just seeing that new properties under contract. We'll talk about another 7-day period, over $200 million in real estate sold, went under contract, and we'll talk about that as well. Some also a big weekend news just regarding Myrtle Beach and real estate as a whole. A lot of great national news we got this last week. We came in at number 8 for the top 400 largest markets poised for growth for price increase year over year of the next year, which is interesting. We came in number 8 of the top 400 metros, which is awesome. We'll talk about that. Also, Myrtle Beach named one of the top America's top performing cities. And just some great news overall. We'll talk about that, but obviously that comes in play into real estate. Something has to do with affordability and what's happening. But that's great news for us in terms of how we're stacking up year over year in terms of pricing. We'll talk about what they're predicting year over year price increase will be. We also talk about, kind of right now, the seasonality. I had this on last week's show, just did not have a chance to get to it. 3 reasons to sell your home and investment property this season. I'm just telling you, from the seasonality aspect, from the rates issue with interest rates, you definitely want to tee it up at the right time and play this game of seasonality. And we'll talk about what that means and how that can mean an extra $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 extra in your pocket as well. Also, our team, we're hiring. We're in growth mode and absolutely crushing it, selling 17 plus properties a week. We're putting under contract right now. And we're looking for A players. You're thinking about, new a career, getting in real estate, or if you're in real estate already and listening to this or watching this online, reach out to me. And because our team's absolutely crushing it. We want people who serve clients at the highest level. We're obsessed with that, of delivering the greatest experience possible to our clients. And also some amazing, amazing success stories. Like I mentioned, our team's in locking contracts on properties that couldn't get sold by other agents. And, we're seeing that again, not thankfully, but we're seeing that again where properties aren't selling. And so you need somebody who's good at what they do. And I think, we talk about the huge mistake people make right now, thinking that all realtors are the same. And so we'll talk about that. Also, as usual, if you want to come back and listen to these shows, you can go on YouTube. We stream it on YouTube Live, stream it on Facebook under Sloan Realty Group. You can look me up and follow me under Blake Sloan. Also on LinkedIn, and we publish these as podcasts. And so you can share this with somebody if you think you have some value. We have one goal in this show, and that's just to keep you updated, keep you informed of what's happening here in Myrtle Beach for real estate, locally and nationally, to help you just make better decisions with your largest assets. We've been doing this show 14 plus years, and I just hope to bring you more information to give you value to talk about with your friends and family, and also make good decisions with all your largest assets.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. If you just tuned in for the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to, it's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, hosted by, of course, Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan has been called the real estate whiz kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications. You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Friends with Morning Show. You heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Hannity, also Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVox. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing. But the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and that's the whole reason why we do the show, the DNA behind why we do the show. And I can't tell you how rewarding it is. Even one of our success stories today, someone who was listed with somebody else, but thankfully somebody who listens to the show referred them to us after they were already frustrated with their agent. They went 6 months, didn't get sold. Then they tried to get investors to buy it. Investors were offering pennies on the dollar. And thankfully, a listener of this show referred them to us and allowed us to help get her way more money than she actually had listed for it, even more money than the investors were offering. And so here's the deal. Why we do this show? Everyone makes the same mistake over and over and over. I've seen it a lot more lately. And I think it's just because of the turbulence of the market, how things are changing. And they make this massive mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same, just like a commodity. And it's not true at all, right? There's a massive difference in terms of agents and how they operate. And the main reason it is because you're dealing with humans, right? We're in a service-based business. We're not some commodity like wheat or coal, right? We're talking about your largest asset. And we're talking about a process with 100 plus variables that has to be managed by one individual or the team that they have. And so here's the deal. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. And that thing is the agent you choose, period. That's it. It comes down to how they actually execute, but everyone makes this mistake and they always ask the wrong questions. And I get this all the time. They call our office and they say, "What's your commission?" Well, we have different packages, but that's not the right question. You should ask, like, who are you and what do you do and how do you get my household for the most amount of money? That's the question you should be asking, because what I find is most home sellers and even buyers, they use the wrong variables to pick an agent. They don't even know what exactly they're even doing. They don't even know why they're picking. They have the wrong variables. Either what's your commission? Well, here's the thing: lowest commission doesn't always mean you get the highest price. Meaning the highest price puts more money in your pocket. And so the good news is you want somebody who can get the most money for your house, put the most money in your pocket, and do it at the best possible, cost to you. And so that's why there's different packages. We offer all kinds of different packages, but I'm just giving an example where people just don't ask the right questions. And what they do, they think and assume that all real estate agents are the same. And they go with a friend who just got the real estate license or who's only sold 3 or 4 homes in the past year. And what happens is they just totally botch the home sale and cost that person $30,000, $40,000. And what's even crazier is sometimes they get to the finish line, they sell the house, they say, great, the house sold. They didn't know, they have no clue that they left 40 grand on the table. And I see this literally every single week, over and over and over and over, some of which we end up buying, some of which our clients end up buying. And a lot of those just come down to people who make the wrong decisions based on the wrong data and the wrong variables. And so I do this show for one reason. They'll educate and say, look, this is your largest asset. You're charged with a crime you didn't commit. The last thing you want is the cheapest attorney who just got their law license, right? Or the nicest attorney, or someone who just recommended YouTube. They've only had a few cases they tried. You would never, ever let that slide. But for some reason, when you're dealing with your largest asset, you do. If you get an attorney, if you're charged with a crime you didn't commit, you want the most aggressive attorney who's the absolute best at what they do and who specializes in that type of law. And you should ask those same exact demands or have those same exact level of requirements when you're dealing with your largest asset, right? Not the cheapest agent or the nicest agent or whoever just gave you that. And so I just want to share that because we see so many horror stories over and over and over again. And why is that single most important variable that determines your success or failure, the agent? Because when you're selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, what it does, it puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, AKA they drop the ball at any point. And that could be anything from, does the agent actually answer the telephone when a buyer calls a for sale sign? Does your agent even put a for sale sign in the front yard? What's their online marketing strategy like? Do they use professional photos or are they using cell phone photos? What's the actual order of the photos online? Because buyer search by elimination, if you have the wrong order, the wrong photos, guess what? They're going to eliminate your house before they ever even saw the inside. And so all these things matter, including negotiation strategy and all these pieces of the puzzle that can make or break the home sale that are happening behind the scenes before you even know it's happening. And so what we did and said, look, there's got to be a better way, because how most agents operate, I grew up in the business. My whole family sold real estate. Mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, was born and raised here. And I've seen it over and over and over, especially once I got to the business in 2005, is that all the agents pretty much operate the same. You have one big box store, a big brand name. You have 200 plus agents there. The agents all work for themselves. They're all independent. They don't care about their coworkers. The coworkers don't care about them. They don't care about my listing. They don't want to sell my listing because they're jealous I got a listing. And then what happens is the agent does the 3 Ps. They promise you the world to get the listing. They'll tell you anything and everything. Usually they're number one. And the second P is they put it into MLS, the multiple listing service. And then 3, they pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, right, they're down the street trying to get the next listing because they're just trying to survive in the business, pay the rent next month. And this happens over and over and over and over. And you end up being a guinea pig with your largest asset based on using the wrong variables to pick the agent. And so what I said is, like, there's got to be a better way out there. How do we run this like a real business? And so I sought out mentors and coaches and did all this kind of mission over the last almost 20 years and said, how do we do it better? And how do we look and see what people did outside of real estate with real businesses? And how do we create a real business that operates like a real business and creates predictable results for our clients? And that's what we did. That's what got us featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Fox News, Shark Tank, is able to say, look, how do we have a system that's proven, repeatable, that creates maximum leverage for our client all the way through the process and gives them an ultimate competitive advantage? And that's what we did. Design this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System. It's the only proven system, so almost twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. And we stack that value up piece by piece by piece. And so we manage all those 118 different variables with two main things. Number one is a team of people who are a team of specialists, right? They specialize in what they do, from inside sales to outside sales to listing coordinators to we have a graphic designer, we have full-time photographer, full-time videographer, all these things that make sure everything happens the right way in the right order every single time, to make sure we create leverage for our client. And the second thing we use is technology. We spend massive amounts of money in technology to create leverage for our client and manage those variables proactively, so that what happens is we stack the dominoes. And so we don't make that big a difference at point one, at point two, and point three. But what happens is you stack those small increments over 118 different variables. It creates a massive gap between us and everyone else. And that's how we give you, the seller, a competitive advantage in the marketplace. And so the best analogy I found is that it's like, a marathon. Everyone takes off at a marathon. You have a shotgun start. Everyone starts running. Looks pretty cool in the beginning. It's a big glob. But what happens is over time, people start to spread out. And over the course of the marathon, people finish 2 and 3 hours ahead of the people. It's the same exact thing that we do with your home sale, which allows us to sell your house faster and for more money. Just for example, our team makes 16,000 phone calls a week to leads that we have in our system, and we match up buyers and sellers. It's statistically impossible for one single agent to make 16,000 phone calls in a week trying to match up buyers and sellers. And so that's one of the many different things that we're able to do, it to give our client that advantage. And so on the flip side, there's 100 plus variables for buyers out there. It's a very difficult market for buying right now because there's very low inventory. And so you want to make sure you have an agent who's an expert, who understands how to navigate that, who can tell you the truth and tell you what you need to do to get that property at the best possible price. And so I designed a system there called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gets you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, right? As well as the negotiation and the home inspection to get you to that closing table successfully. And both of those are designed to represent you the entire time you own the home. And so if you want to know how that works, reach out to me. If you take anything from today's show, is like, look, understand what the right variables are to ask the right questions if you're a home seller, if you're a home buyer in today's marketplace, because so many people go in blind. They ask the wrong questions, and so therefore they get the wrong answers, and it costs them $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on the back end.
The market to buy or sell a home right now, every detail means dollars, and who you hire to negotiate your home, that really matters. Hey, Sean Hannity here, and as an active who invests in real estate all across the great country of ours, I want the best negotiator representing my interests. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty.
Okay.
They can help you navigate through
Thank you. I appreciate it.
offers, and more importantly, he has turned complicated situations into 5-star reviews. Now check out his rave reviews on Google. Talk to him yourself. If you are on trial with big money at stake, you would want a seasoned negotiator with thousands of victories. If they will take you on and you can afford them, right? Well, your home deserves the best representation. Know your options. See how much demand your home can command in this market right now, and get the best representation that you deserve. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. He offers several options to home sales, but really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers at time crunch, you're going to ready to sell it by a certain date, take after help, or even rental.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
We'll use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Market update for everyone. Stay on top of this. And like I said, one of the most important things we do every week is just we want to keep you updated in the market so you can know what's going on with your properties, your investment properties, your primary residence, so you can just make good decisions. And so I like to just share data that really we use to help advise our clients to help them be able to get the absolute best deal when they're buying, and obviously the most amount of money when they're selling. And so two main numbers we look at, we talk about this all the time for our long-term listeners. We look at we call them the windshield numbers, like, hey, what's out the front windshield? What's going on in front of me so I can tell what's happening. And those are the most important, really, I think, for keeping a pulse of the market. Look at how many properties went under contract the last 7 days, no matter what day of the week. We track this every morning in our office. We do a morning huddle and we go over that together as a group. because it allows us to really have a pulse. We can advise our clients, and for our seller clients, we can push the limit a little bit higher when the market's more hot than it's, than it is typically. And right now it's super hot. We're coming into some of the hottest weeks of the year when we're coming, school's getting out, people are coming in town. All these buyers have been stalking real estate in Myrtle Beach for months and months and months, and they're coming down here in droves. We're seeing that happen statistically. We're seeing that happen with a lot of news online talking about Myrtle Beach. And so the last 7 days, 613 properties under contract here on the Grand Strand. Last week showed there were 608 properties in that scenario, so up a little bit. Looking at volume though, 214,077,000 sold. And so the last 7 days, $214 million in real estate has gone into contract, which is significant. Anytime we're over 200 million, it's a great week. If you look back to January, it's 125 million. And so it's smoking hot right now, which means if I'm a home seller, I want to take advantage of the seasonality of when things are happening, when things are selling and people are buying. If you look at the overall properties, there was 8 properties or $1 million under contract last 7 days. Last week showed there were 11 properties, so down just a little bit there. This week there were 89 properties over 500,000. This week, last week, 99 properties over 500,000. 89 properties this week, so down 10 properties. But we see that fluctuate all the time based on what availability there is, based on what's happening. The big story is that we're just seeing lots of money come in from up north in different areas, both for investment properties, for second homes, and also relocation right now, which is super important. Look at inventory is actually up a little bit. So last week's show, there was 832 properties for sale that were single family homes in Horry County. That's just the best way I've found to keep a pulse on it. Just kind of what most people, hey, what's the single family homes out there? It's not new construction, just resale homes. This week, 846. So inventory's up about 14 homes there overall. And so great news. Like I said, anything over 200 million is rock and roll. And so we'll take that, and I hope that continues to stay. We'll talk about interest rates in a second. Quick market recap for anyone who missed last week's show. Sales down last month, 34.6% compared to the same month last year. And so we know the hottest month of last year was March and April. And so like last year, there were 653 properties that closed. This year, 427. So down 34.6%. And the other thing though is if you look at month versus month, which is great news, it was down just a little bit, seems about 12% month versus month going in from April into May. And so we'll just kind of talk about that overall, which is good news here. And then also prices, looking at 2 different types of numbers. Average sale prices hit a new record, which is awesome. It's up 1.7% year versus year. And so we hit a new record of $490,294, which is great. The last record we had was last year in April at $488,186. And so great news there for home sellers, a lot more equity. I mean, I've been doing this show for a long time. I remember when our average sale price was 200,000. And so I used to get made fun of at all the conferences because we had such an average, it's a low average sale price. And now we're getting up there to almost $500,000. It's just crazy to me. And so it's great news for out there for home sellers. If you look at the median price, it's down 5.5% year over year at $345,000. It did drop about 7% month versus month. And so in March, it was $370,000. It dropped down to $345,000 in April. And so that's just interesting. And we always want to break that down per neighborhood and per zip code if we're advising our clients. So just keep that in mind. Supply is actually up significantly from last year, up 125%, but it's still very low. It's at 2.7 months inventory. We're very tight right now, not just here, but across the country. And so that's what's helping protect prices. And that's why you see average sale price still rising, why sales are down 30+%. And so that's good news. 2.7 months of inventory right now, which is great. It was the same as it was in March. And so that's just something we're seeing houses take a little bit longer overall. New listings though, on the market is actually down 27.1%. So a lot less people are selling their properties, which is great for the ones who are, because now you're able to price a little bit higher, get a little more money for your property. One thing too that we've noticed is days on market is taking longer. They're taking 30% longer right now to sell houses of the ones that are actually selling. We're seeing a lot more expireds. And so what that means is if you think about something, you want to have an agent who's actually good at what they do, right? Before, anybody could just take some cell phone photos, put it online and get it sold. And now there's more competition. There's a lot less buyers, 30+% less buyers. And so you want to make sure it's differentiated right. You want to make sure it has the right, aggressive marketing campaign behind it to get it the exposure it deserves so that you can price it higher and get buyers who will pay a premium for your property. And so that's just something that is overall powerful to look at in general. If you look at condos and townhomes overall, condo sales down 25.6%. If you look at year versus year, And so April of last year versus April this year, down 25.6%. Prices still up, which is great. Got condo sale prices up 3.5% at 274,000, which is scraping right at the top of the record we had last year in May. And then the overall median price right now up 6.7%, which is great news at 240,000, tied with the high we had last May as well. That was a record. And so we're seeing low inventory continue to basically keep prices contained and continue to rise very slowly, which is great news. Maybe everybody's talking about property values going to crash when buyers are not going to buy because interest rates have gone up. We're still holding tight here, especially Myrtle Beach. We talked about in previous shows being very well insulated because so many buyers are still moving down here. The wild card we're going to keep watching, though, is interest rates. Huge jump this last week. We had a 6-month high happen. Last week's show was 6.82%. This week right now, 7.12% for a 30-year fixed rate. Scary. Anytime I see anything 7%, I do notice from a traffic standpoint, a lot of buyers do tend to pump the brakes. And so as a home seller, I definitely want to think about taking action earlier rather than later. A lot of this has to do with that debt ceiling that affects the bond market, which drives interest rates up. And so that's something we'll keep watching as well. 15-year fixed rate right now, 6.42%. A 30-year jumbo loan, 6.75%. A 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now, 6.95%. A 30-year FHA loan, 6.75%. And a 30-year VA loan, 6.75%. And so they are up, right? Still a great time. And I was talking about for this recently, even for buyers out there, it still makes sense for the right buyer to buy because last year rates are super low. You're getting 12, 15, 20 offers on properties at the same time and paying 30, 40, 50,000 of asking price. Right now as a home buyer, you don't have to do that. And so you can lock in, get the right deal, be able not to pay 40 grand over asking price and bring that extra cash to the table. And then you can refinance once rates go down. And it would take a significant amount of time for that extra interest to catch up. And so that's just something we'll talk about going forward. But right now, if you're a home seller, you want to make sure you have someone who can get you the right exposure because as rates go up, less buyers are looking and you have the same amount of competition. And so you want to make sure you can find a way to differentiate. We'll talk about one of those examples here after this next break in our next success story.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask
Perfect,
Blake
thank you.
about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees
And
to sell
everything
your home at
recorded
price
this
and
week, too,
deadline
so.
you agree to.
Yeah,
by himself.
perfect. I don't want to do it again.
Know when your current home will sell by and for how much you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot buyers alert. My team and I are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers looking for properties here in the Myrtle Beach and Grand Sharon area, anywhere from $250,000 to $4.3 million. If you're thinking about selling, please contact us immediately. 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808. So one thing we're doing here on this show for 10 plus years is putting my money where my mouth is. Like every other agent out there, they just wait to do marketing once they get the listing and put the sign in the yard. Our unique business model that we have is very proprietary, and it allows me to outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. You've probably seen it in all the billboards, the radio, the stations, the TV. We spend tens of thousands of dollars driving traffic online. And so we get buyers from all over the globe. And what we do is we have proprietary technology that allows us to take those buyers and match them up to our sellers. And we do that within seconds. And so we take all these buyers, we match them with our sellers. And so the problem is, though, is we have way more buyers than there are even sellers in the market right now. And so we need inventory. If you're thinking about selling, anyone you know, we make it seamless and easy in many cases because we're spending all this money, tens of thousands of dollars every month for years and years and years having these buyers. So right now, active buyer count, active buyers we have on our website who use our website, who are searching actively with username, password, account, 72,356 active home buyers. Again, that's 72,356 active home buyers we have that are searching right now on our website, and they're from all over. Right now, I got Joanne Raymond from Spartanburg, South Carolina. I got Craig Mayer from Rockville, Maryland. I got Leslie Olson from Apex, North Carolina. Debbie from Conway, South Carolina. I got Joshua Byrne from Sanford, North Carolina. Ackworth, Georgia. Myrtle Beach, La Plata, Maryland. Waltham, Massachusetts. All kind of things we have all over here. That just allows us, with our huge internet reach, to reach those buyers. In our team, we have a huge buyer team of buyer experts, 30 plus agents on that their job is to sell those buyers' houses. Well, they're incentivized to sell our listings because that's what we're hired to do. And so we have a technology that takes any new listing, especially yours, reverse engineers the most likely buyer for that property based on their previous search patterns, and we can sell it within minutes. And not only that, we have multiple buyers for the same property, which allows those prices to be able to be very high, helping our sellers. And so if you want to know more how that works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. Really quick, couple of great success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it in a very difficult market, but a big shout out to Camille. She recently decided to move back to Pennsylvania to be closer to family. She had her home listed with a different realtor for 6 months and had zero success. She didn't receive one single offer. Feeling defeated, she started looking around for different options to see if she could find a way to sell her home on her own. She spoke with a few investors, and after talking with them, realized they were all offering her pennies on the dollar of what it's actually worth. Thankfully, she's referred to Sloan Group by an amazing radio listener. Camille went with us and basically saw there's a better option. We shared our guaranteed sold system. We designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, our virtuality walkthrough, drove massive traffic online, had her a fantastic cash as is offer in just a couple weeks, put maximum money in her pocket. Now she's able to move on with a simple, easy closing. She had to fix anything because we negotiated as is for her, and sold it for way more than is listed for, and also way more than any of those investors are paying, all because she made the right call to us. And so big shout out to who referred her to us. Also, George and Sammy purchased property in Ainer last year. They had made several improvements to the property since purchasing it. A few life events came up, made them, they needed to sell it. And they made a decision to sell the home. They're worried, though, they wouldn't get the money back out of it since they only bought it last year and it put some money into it. Obviously, thankfully, they reached out to us at Sloan Group. He actually listens to the show, and we show them how to get the home sold quickly and for top dollar and for a whole lot more money than they put into it. And we also show them buyers that we had looking for properties just like theirs outside of an HOA with land. We showed them on our back end, loved it. Designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtuality walkthrough, and drove massive traffic. Just a couple weeks, had George and Sammy a fantastic offer in their home that put maximum equity back in their pockets, and thankfully made the right call initially by reaching out to us. And so if you want to know more that works, right, reach out to us. I see so many bad things happening right now to people as we're in this market shift. I call it a market contraction. There's so many desperate agents out there over-promising, under-delivering, and what's happening is you're gambling with your largest asset. And so if you take anything from the show or anybody you know, reach out to them and say, look, don't gamble with your largest asset. Reach out to one of the top teams in the country, and that's us at Blake Sloan Team. Reach out, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll see you back here next week.